All right, so it's not fitment, it's my weight. What
So
do we do next?
That's weight distribution. We know you need a shock spring if this is going to be right for you. So next is handlebars.
Okay.
Remember we talked about that and your injuries, and
Yeah.
as human beings, we're not symmetrical. The older we get, we have great stories if you're older. Kids today have no great stories because they're bubble wrapped. That's another story altogether. But handlebars come in various different widths. If you do this all day, where do your hands go? Here, because that's normal to you. If you work with your hands and you're physical all day, you come from here. So hands outside your shoulder width is much more normal for you.
Okay.
So depending on what you do, one of the tests is close your eyes. Make two fists. Put them out in front of you to a width with your shoulders and then a distance that feels comfortable to you, and put them where you want them, but don't automatically go to the handlebars.
All right.
So.
Can I open my eyes?
Yep.
Oh man, I'm way off.
Right.
So not
the
only,
other part now of that is your spine's facing backwards. So that's inappropriate. So now move yourself forwards. Keep going, stop. So your fists are on top of the controls and half the grip. Is there a lot of room on these handlebars here to move everything sideways?
About an inch.
Yeah. Would you be willing to re-drill new holes and put everything in?
Yeah, I mean,
so that you could fit yourself?
If it was more comfortable, yeah.
If that's too much work. The other thing to look at and put your fist back on top of that is that those knuckles point right at that camera. That handlebar points right back at the second camera.
Oh.
So you and we and everybody that rides bike like this steer with their thumbs. Now go ahead and grip the bar. The palm of your hand sits on top and even further forward on the grip. So if you're to steer, you can't use your hand. You've got to use your thumb. Numb hands, pain in the neck because you turn your wrist out.
Yeah.
The only way to make that work is hyperextend your elbows in, and nobody on the planet is going to ride like that. So this handlebar has what we call a back bend, because if this is straight, which would be better for you, no bend there would make it fit better. This bar's too wide for you, so if this bar was narrowed up, you'd be much more comfortable. Triumph makes 7 different bars for their bikes in width, so they can fit anybody to it, which is wonderful. The aftermarket has God knows how many handlebars of different shapes, sizes, and widths.
Right.
So for a standard bike, for most people, because they do this or this, a straight bar is by far preferred. But what most people don't measure is from here back to your belly button, what's that gap? And this is going to be a lot shorter than the Yamaha. And some bikes like the Thruxton, you're like this, trying to reach the handlebars because the tank is so long.
What's the reason for measuring from the bar to my belly?
So spine length and arm length. Where's your triangle? Right? This way. What's comfortable for you? This? Well, how long's that reach?
Oh, okay.
Right? That's not comfortable. Because now, if I'm to keep my head in place, I'm looking down at the gas cap. Now I'm looking at the road. How much distance is that? It's a couple of inches.
Yeah.
But it's all the difference in the world from horrible neck pain and numb hands, because you're steering with your thumbs, to comfort. So sitting on a bike, where does your head naturally position itself, and what are you looking at? The clocks, the floor, the gas cap, 6 foot in the air, where you naturally got your head positioned. Where do your eyes, without raising your eyes, what do you see?
I see the speedometer.
Right. So next thing is sit back, make 2 fists again, put them against the grips. Is that better? Where are you looking now?
Just between the, almost parallel, but about 45 degrees down.
All right. So if we got an offset for these handlebars and move these handlebars back.
Oh man, that would be amazing. That would get rid of the pain in my neck from having to look up all the time.
Right. So the other part of this then becomes, remember, the price of ownership includes the price of fitment.
Right.
So what's the cheapest way to do it? I can't afford bars and an offset. okay, by the offset,
Yeah.
right? So that's the first part in this. The other part is, can you reach the levers? So
Yeah.
if your hands are straight, which you make them straight because you cheat, right? One of the things, everybody has to buy shorty levers because they're black and gold and white and blue, and they have multiple colors and they're shiny.
Right?
No, the size of your hand and the length of your fingers is critical. We're the last generation to write with a pen. Apparently this is a pen, this is a pen. So we use these fingers. Your fingertip on the second finger must overhang the lever.
Okay.
Power. As that power is released, the sensitivity of your index finger through writing controls the release. Power, finesse. So the bend, or what's called a shoulder in a lever,
Right.
and then where the arm itself comes off, it can come off flat, it can come off up. Do the stock levers work for your hands?
I think they do.
In that case, yes. These are both adjustable, so we don't need levers.
Cool.
Awesome. So what we do need is to position them at the right angle. This is not okay. That is not okay. This is not okay. So generally, your rule of thumb is, can you keep a straight line? Sport bikes are this. Standards are this or this. Cruisers apparently are this. So in that case, with your fingers, so go back to just holding the grips. If these are set correctly, your palm will not move backwards. The most critical one is the brake lever. Do you want to accelerate into a braking situation?
Well, no.
So try it. You got to come back, right?
A little bit.
You got to come back because this gap is too small. You got to do this with your fingers to get it over.
Right.
So this needs to drop down.
Okay.
Same with the clutch or not?
Well, yeah. Same with the clutch.
Right. So how long is that going to take me? 30 seconds.
2 minutes. Yeah.
So the other part as well with this is sit back again. If we loosen these bolts and roll these bars down or up, depending on your spine, that sets your head height. These aren't welded, so if you roll them backwards and forwards, what puts your spine in the right position based on the grip position?
Rolling them back.
For you, rolling them back and getting them closer to you would help immeasurably, because if you put your fists against the grips, it's fine. So could we roll these far enough back to make that work, or are the OEM cables too tight?
Oh. Well, couldn't we?
The OEM cables are too tight. You can't roll it that far back.
Okay.
Unless there's some free play here in your brake line,
Okay.
which we'd have to go find. So if your brake line is bolted up under the triple clamp, if we took that bolt out, freeze the line up, now I can move the bars. Would you be willing to live without one bolt on your motorcycle to get yourself perfectly comfortable?
Absolutely.
Other people won't. So I had a gentleman with an HP4. I wanted to mark bottom out with a tiny little black dot. I was going to put him in the red corner and I was going to go in the blue corner. That's how physical he was willing to get about not having a dot on his HP4. And I get that. It's my bike. So in some cases, there are pieces of information where, would you take this bolt out to make yourself comfortable? Some people will say no. That makes the bike unsafe because they don't have detachment from the motorcycle to have a higher perspective to look at it right or left brained. So one of the great experiments I do is talk to people around a bike and we talk about a topic and braking, and within a minute and a half, that's a lovely gray. How did they make it flat gray? That's amazing. And I just slowly walk backwards and walk away. And for 20 minutes, they're talking about gray. The topic itself is lost. So if you're thinking or having a conversation, the motorcycle must be 1,000,000 miles away. Nowhere near it, because otherwise you just draw them back to the motorcycle. So analysis is perspective, 1,000 feet, detach, and things make a lot more sense.
Sounds good.
So that's part one.
I know I've had horrible times with some bikes, in terms of neck pain and wrist pain and things like that. I can make it maybe 20 minutes before I want to get off. I want to shake it out. I want to feel better. So it's really nice to know that a few easy tweaks can change all of that.
Right, absolutely. And like he says, it's all in setup in your cockpit as well as your bike. And some of that can alleviate a lot of pain while you're riding.
That's awesome. You know, and have you guys had the same experience? I mean, have you made a few small tweaks here and there that absolutely changed your ride experience? Tell us about
Or maybe you bought a bike, it didn't fit you,
it. Yeah.
and you didn't like it, so you just sold it instead of trying something new. Give us a holler, let us know.
And with everything that, you know, we've seen about ergos and getting the fit right, I imagine tuning the suspension, actually getting into the meat and potatoes, is going to make a huge difference as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Dave has to say about the front and rear.
He explains it really well, and we'll go through it, the entire thing, and you'll be surprised the difference that it'll make in your riding.